Hello everyone, I'm pleased to present you the CE marking, the EC marking for the medical device. The placement on the market is a process which is regulated by European directive and guidelines issued by Brussels. So you will see the first definition of the medical device. After mainly it is the first keywords you must catch when you talk about medical device. A medical device means any instrument, apparatus, appliance, software, material or other article, whether used alone or in combination, including the software intended by its manufacturer to be used specifically for diagnostic and or therapeutic purposes and necessary for its proper application. I will stop the reading now because it's a very long definition. But you can see that you have keywords which are of very great importance from now on. The intended purpose. It is the way the manufacturer decides to place a device on the market within a very specific clinical use and not another one. This clinical use will be the starting for finding the classification of the device as part of the directive. Proper application means that the use of the device is user-related, totally different from the drugs. It means that a huge training must be done, a huge communication as well, every time a device is placed on the market. So, intended by the manufacturer, say that the manufacturer is responsible for placing the device on the market and is responsible in front of the competent authority, the Ministry of Health, in France, AFSAPS for the time being, or the notified body, which is the organism in charge of authorizing the CE marking. I let you read later on this definition in the directive. I've given you the number, which is accessible freely on the net. It's a definition which needs to be read carefully, and based on this definition, you will see the classification later on in different slides. So the device means as well the in vitro diagnostic device or reagents. They have their own directive, own definition. You have as well active devices. So the CE marking applies only to product placed in the market or put into service. Two different definitions to be read carefully. So you have three range of medical devices, and each of one is regulated with its own directive. The two first, medical device and active internal medical device, are regulated by two different directives modified by the same one, and the third one, in vitro diagnostic device. It is another one which is regulated with this famous specific directive and other specific tools. So for every CE marking device, you have harmonized standards. It means that the manufacturer has to implement standards which are displayed on the European market through official journal, and these standards are audited by the notified body every time a first CE marked product is placed on the market. Just for example, part of the list which relates to the medical device, so the main directive, I will use this directive for my presentation. You can see that you have 31 pages. So the list must be read carefully. Between the three directives, the list of standards is quite common. You have the same kind of tools for the biocompatibility test, the symbols, the instructions for use, the packaging, the sterilization, and so on. A directive, it is a structure mainly. You must understand how it is built. You have articles, for example, for this specific directive, the definitions again, the famous harmonized standards, the reference to standards which is mandatory. It may be the pharmacopoeia as well for devices which combine drugs and device, but which are finally a device, not a drug. You have some definitions which relate to the competent authority, which is the Ministry of Health, the safeguard clause, which authorizes competent authority to organize a recall of a device in its own country. The classification rules, we will go later on the definitions. The conformity assessment procedures are of great importance and relate to the quality system you must put in place in your when you manufacture a device, which is of great importance.